Hello, Nova Nation. It's WXVU Sports Director David Szczepanski. Here in Philadelphia, behind me is the Ben Franklin Bridge, and the Villanova Wildcats will take on the number 5 UConn Huskies in South Philly on Saturday at 5:30 p.m. Villanova is 21-5, and if the Wildcats were able to win this game against UConn tonight, Villanova and UConn would both have 3 Big East losses this year, so this is a big game for seeding. Now, this UConn team is really, really good, 24-3. The 3 losses for UConn have all been against pretty good teams, right? Arizona, St. John's, and most recently against Creighton. That was the worst loss of the year for UConn at home, a quad 3 loss as of right now. Could become a quad 2 loss for the Huskies, but definitely the worst game of the season for UConn, and this team has not lost back-to-back Big East games since 2023. It's been 3 years since UConn has lost back-to-back Big East games, so this team is really built to respond from the adversity, and UConn as a team averages almost 80 points per game. They only give up in the mid-60s in terms of points per game, so it's a really, really good defense that forces a good amount of turnovers. As an offense, like I said, they average 79 points per game. They shoot well from behind the arc at about the mid-30s, and in terms of players to watch, Solo Ball, who averages 14 points per game. He was really the catalyst in the overtime 8-point victory for UConn in Connecticut. He scored more than 20 points. He had one of his best 3-point shooting games of the season. Tyrus Reed Jr. also averages 13 points per game, as too for Alex Caravan. Now, the key matchup to watch in this game is going to be Villanova's Duke Brennan, who had his 12th double-double of the season the other day against Xavier, against Tyrus Reed Jr., because he played really good defensively against Reed Jr. in the first matchup, where Reed Jr. was pretty quiet for most of the game there in Hartford. So that's going to be a big matchup to watch. Well, those are 3 of the top players for the UConn team, but the depth is really there for Coach Hurley and this Huskies team. That's why they're so good, right? Ranked number 5 in the country, but really this team, after losing to Creighton, is probably in the high teens, right? Probably around 10 or 12 when the poll comes out on Monday, if they don't if they do win against Villanova and don't lose against Villanova. But, this is a UConn team that's really tough. Like I said, they respond really well. They have a ton of depth. The offense is good. The defense is one of the best in the country. I think that's really what makes this UConn team so good, is its defense. One of the best defenses in all of college basketball. So it's going to be good to see, fun to see how Villanova matches up against UConn's defense. And, again, in this first matchup, UConn won by 8 points in Hartford in overtime. The game that Villanova probably should have won. Caden Lewis, Bryce Lindsey really struggled. Duke Brennan played well. The Wildcats hit some big buckets off the bench and almost had one of the best wins, one of the biggest upsets of the year in Connecticut when UConn was ranked 2 in the country. So big game on Saturday. It's a whiteout at Xfinity Mobile Arena, and I think for Villanova, want to get off to a good start. I think Duke Brennan, that's going to be a big matchup, like I said, against Tyrus Reed Jr. For the Wildcats as well, have to shoot the ball well from behind the arc. UConn's 3-point defense allows their opponents to shoot about 31% from 3. Villanova, a good 3-point shooting team, has to take advantage. And also, to the last note here in terms of things to watch, have to force turnovers. This UConn team only commits about 10 turnovers per game. Villanova didn't do a great job of forcing turnovers in that first matchup, especially in the second half. Villanova has to do a better job on Saturday against UConn forcing turnovers. Our WXU pregame coverage will begin at 5 p.m. Again, 5:30 p.m. tip-off from South Philly. Reporting from the Ben Franklin Bridge, I'm David Szczepanski, and as always, go Cats!